Welcome to this new Flight Simulator update movie. A new release of the beta version of Sim Update number 12 has just been released. So there are a few fixes, right? But there's also some new features. So first of all, there's the new content features. There's an input to toggle the flight assistant panel. There's now a shortcut assigned to that. And there are some general bug fixes. There's a fixed issue in the building generation that could cause crashes, as well as various localization improvements. If we continue with the weather, there are fixed improvements for the airports, considered as water if runways have undefined surface types. Nice one. And for the weather specific, there is a general live weather improvement, as well as fixed a rendering issue where the clouds were ghosting into the sky at horizon. Sounds scary. Activity. In the boost tips, the description box displays incorrect values for the flight length, duration, and the number of legs. That's now also being fixed. So I'd say another fix for the activities, which in past also caused some issues. Then continuing with the other updates, right? So the Cessna Citation CG4, there are again a lot of fixes. So that's really good because they're taking it seriously and they're taking, I would say, the time to improve the individual aircraft, right? In this case, the Citation CT4 which was already part of the initial release of the hotfix or update, sorry. But there's now some new stuff. So first of all, there's the added automatic VR tuning functionality that wasn't part of the aircraft, and there's the added FLT log page to the FMC and flight tracking. Also here another one, the FLT log will show on the FMC after landing based on the settings in default, which is good. And there's an added ability to ident the transponder on the FMC ATC control page. So there's more stuff coming to that FMC control page, right? So there's more things which they add there. Next one is also interesting. The fixed issue where the fuel use tracking on fuel management page 2 was incorrect. Well, that's, I'd say, kind of valuable fix, right? Because you don't want to get out of fuel. And there's a reduced pitch instability and adjusted elevator authority, tweaked roll states, rates and various speeds to keep a light control feel, but reduce access performance. And that's sometimes you figure out when flying Flight Simulator, right? That I would say, the sensitivity of the pitch button, right? If you're having, for example, the Turtle Beach, that sometimes is crazy sensitive, which react or makes the aircraft go either, let's say, make a huge climb or descend really fast. Then there's the adjusted flaps to achieve a better compromise between approach angle and flaps, pitch lift moments, reduced flaps drag of both flaps levels. So they made several adjustments to the flaps to make sure that they are working, I would say, better as it looks like, both for the approach or specifically for the approach angle. That's, I would say, very useful. There's the slightly increased top and engine thrust to add a few reports of insufficient climb power. I haven't seen it, to be honest, but in some cases, if you do not have enough power, you can of course not climb hard enough. And so they made some adjustments to make sure that the engines are going a little bit harder, as it looked like. And they increased the gear down drag, right? So if you do the gears down, it will create drag and that will slow down the aircraft. That's what you always see, right? If you're flying and then I would say do the gears down, then you will see that the aircraft will reduce speed. There's the increased gyro stability to reduce the excessive turbulence impact. Not seen that yet, but hey, it's probably there. And there's the adjusted load stations to be more in line with the real loadout. That's really cool, right? You can see that they sometimes are fixing systems, but also they try to make it as realistic as possible. So if you're flying on Citation CG4, and if you're playing Flight Simulator, and if you're playing the beta, then let me know if it is indeed more realistic than it was before. Then the next one is specifically for the additional ground wheel friction to avoid skidding during moderate crosswinds. Skidding is that you are, let's say, if I'm correct, is that you are, let's say, blown to specific sites, right? Especially with crosswinds, that could happen. And the ILS data is now loaded from the approach FAF origin facility to allow for nav to nav and auto tune even when scenery runway data does not have the appropriate ILS reference information, right? So that's cool, right? Because it sometimes caused some issues. When the correct data was not available, then it could result in weird situations. Looks like they now made a modification for that. Next one is to fix the bugs related to the visual approach loading and the visual approach VNAV guidance. That's also now good. Still need to look at VNAV. Keep saying it, still my list. And the touch and go buttons on power lever are now interactable, right? So the touch and go buttons are now working. For the DG1000E, they fixed an issue with the tow attach point, which caused the glider to be uncontrollable when arrow towed, right? That was a known issue in the previous version, but now is fixed. And for the LS8, they increased the winch power as well as they increased the winch max spawn distance, also fixed. In the world, they did specifically create a fix for the airports, right? To fix a terraforming issue, including the crack on runway 26 for ESSA, a specific airport fix. And there's now some added support for new devices for the Hori flight stick when you're using it both on the Xbox and on the PC. Then a ton of SDK fixes, but those were already I would say most of them were partially already implemented, but now some more fixes. But as you are, I would say, probably used to, we're skipping those. But SimForce, I really want to discuss this one because they fixed a crash to desktop, right? That CTD stands for, by trying to use a variable, and also the SimForce windshield wind velocity, not for airplanes, is now implemented. So another good build, or at least a new build. It brings up the version to version 1.31.19.0. As mentioned already here on the top, right? If you've got issues, then move all the content out of your community folder and try to reproduce it. If you can still reproduce it, then you can report issues to Asobo. Here ends this video where we looked at the latest release of the Sim update number 12 beta version, which has just been released. Hope you liked this video. If you liked it, then consider to use the like button. If you've got questions or comments, then feel free to post them in the comment box below. And if you want to stay up to date about new videos I'm posting, then make sure that you're subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.